You don't have to say a word. In fact, there's a quiet strength, a silent way of being that can make a man think about you day and night. This might sound like a well-guarded secret, a mystery that only a select few women truly understand. But the truth is, in the delicate dance of attraction and genuine connection, the most profound power often lies not in what you say, but in what you communicate without ever speaking. So many of us, in our eagerness to be seen and appreciated, fall into the trap of talking too much. We over-explain, we justify, we practically beg for attention with a flood of words that, instead of bringing someone closer, actually pushes them away. But what if I told you that the thing that truly captures a man's heart and mind isn't your words, but the silent energy you radiate? This quiet confidence, this powerful presence that doesn't need to announce itself to be felt, is what leaves a lasting mark. The renowned psychologist Carl Jung taught us that our deepest truths are often revealed not in our carefully chosen words, but in our gestures, our glances, and the pauses between our words. There's a language far deeper than speech, one that unveils our true essence. When a woman learns to inhabit this inner sanctuary of calm, security, and authenticity, she emanates a magnetic presence that is simply impossible for a man to ignore. In this video, we're going to uncover this silent attitude that will have him thinking of you again and again. We'll explore how it taps into the core of male psychology and discover concrete steps you can take to make this powerful energy your natural state of being. If you've ever felt like you're giving too much and getting too little in return, or that your voice is simply lost in the noise, then get ready to change that dynamic for good. Because the key isn't to convince him with your words, but to captivate him with the quiet strength of your spirit. This isn't just a strategy to attract a man, it's a journey back to yourself, a powerful act of self-love that becomes visible in every look, every pause. And when that happens, he won't be able to stop thinking about you, even when you're not saying a thing. The common mistake we make when a woman is interested in a man, it's completely natural to want to show him how she feels. We want to express our affection, clarify our intentions, and build a connection. But so often, this beautiful desire to communicate gets twisted into an avalanche of words. We over-explain, we justify our feelings, and without even realizing it, we can come across as begging for his attention and approval. This pattern, as common as it is, can be a major roadblock to genuine attraction and can stop a man from developing a real, deep interest. But why? Because when we talk too much, especially when we're trying to convince someone of our worth, we're not radiating strength. We're sending out signals of insecurity and a kind of inner restlessness. Those excessive explanations make a man feel like we need his validation to feel whole, and that insecurity, even if we don't say it out loud, comes through in our voice, our gaze, and our entire presence. It's not alluring, it's often off-putting. Carl Jung encourages us to think about the power of our unconscious, what we communicate not with our words, but with our bodies, our pauses, and the look in our eyes. When a woman is constantly justifying herself, she's unconsciously revealing an inner emptiness that she's hoping he will fill. For a man, this can feel exhausting and unattractive because it signals an emotional dependency rather than a stable inner strength. And when a woman fills every single moment of silence with words, she loses her mystery. And it's that very mystery that acts as a powerful magnet for attraction. When we leave space for imagination, for him to wonder about us, we awaken his curiosity. He'll want to know more, to experience more, to understand the deeper parts of you. But if we lay all our cards on the table at once, bearing all our vulnerabilities, his interest can fade. There's nothing left to discover, nothing left to pursue. Now, this isn't about being cold or dismissive. It's about finding that beautiful balance. Our communication should be genuine, but it needs to come from a place of inner security, not from a feeling of lack. Speaking less doesn't mean bottling up your feelings. It means being intentional about what you share, when you share it, and how you share it. It's about keeping your energy clear, strong, and captivating. The woman who masters this art doesn't need to convince anyone with her words. She simply shows up as her authentic self, with a quiet confidence that emanates from within. And that is what sparks a much deeper and more lasting interest. Her silence has meaning. Her calmness is magnetic. This combination makes a man feel drawn to her, makes him want to know more, and above all, makes him respect the space she holds for herself. So, if you've ever felt that frustrating feeling of saying everything you could possibly say and still not getting the response you hoped for, or if you feel like you're constantly giving and rarely receiving, it's time to rethink your approach. It's time to let go of the fear of being misunderstood and to start trusting in the incredible power of your silent presence. True attraction doesn't blossom from a place of pressure or forceful words. It grows from an energy that is authentic, mature, and secure. Remember, an excess of words can push someone away, but a calm and mysterious presence is what truly draws them in. A man isn't just looking for a woman who can talk. He's looking for a woman who speaks from her soul, who knows the power of silence, and who respects herself enough to not need his constant approval. That is the first, most crucial step to not only being noticed by him, but to staying in his thoughts, leaving him fascinated and deeply touched by a presence that many don't understand, but everyone can feel. What is the silent attitude? The silent attitude isn't simply about being quiet or avoiding conversations. It's a way of being, a presence that transcends words. It's an inner energy that radiates security, a quiet calm, and a deep self-acceptance, all without the need for grand gestures or constant explanations. When a woman truly embodies this attitude, she becomes an invisible magnet. She attracts without even trying because her power isn't coming from what she's doing or saying on the outside, but from the incredible strength she holds within. Imagine a woman who is completely at ease in her own skin, who doesn't need anyone else's approval to feel whole. She isn't desperately clinging to every word a man says, nor is she chasing after his attention as if it's her only lifeline. She is simply there, calm, centered, with a peacefulness that shines through in her eyes, her posture, and the way she interacts with the world. Carl Jung spoke about the process of individuation, which is the journey of becoming the most authentic version of ourselves, free from the masks we wear, the fears that hold us back, and the pressures of society. This journey is the very foundation of the silent attitude. A woman who has done this inner work doesn't need to be loud to be heard. This attitude doesn't mean you have to suppress your feelings or act like you don't care. On the contrary, it means feeling everything deeply, but then making a conscious choice about how you express those feelings. Instead of reacting impulsively, you respond with clarity and an inner balance. You're not driven by the fear of loss because you know, deep down, that your worth is not dependent on anyone else's attention. The silent attitude also reveals itself in the way a woman handles space and time. She's not afraid of those quiet moments in a conversation. In fact, she embraces them as necessary pauses that allow for a real connection to form. She doesn't feel the need to fill every single second with noise just to keep a relationship afloat. Her emotional calmness creates an atmosphere where a man feels intrigued, fascinated, and deeply moved because he senses that there are layers to her that aren't immediately accessible. From a psychological perspective, this is the very essence of true attraction. It doesn't grow from pressure or neediness, but from a place of mutual respect and the silent admiration that blossoms when someone truly values themselves. A woman who is at peace within herself radiates that peace, and that is something that can't be faked or forced. That's why this silent attitude is so much more than just a way to attract a man. It's a way of life that enriches all of your relationships, especially the one you have with yourself. Because when you cultivate this inner calm and security, you become stronger, more authentic, and less vulnerable to emotional games or disappointments. Imagine how everything in your life would change if you stopped chasing attention and instead simply allowed it to come to you because you've created a space that naturally invites it. Imagine when your self-worth no longer hinges on what he says or does, but is an unshakable truth that you hold within. That is the heart of the silent attitude. It's not about trying to fill an external void, but about being so inwardly fulfilled that your light naturally shines outward. And when that inner light is shining brightly, no words can ever match its power. The power of nonverbal language. We often underestimate the incredible impact of nonverbal communication. But it's in those silent cues that we find the key to creating the deepest and most irresistible connections. When you embrace the silent attitude, it's not just your silence that's so captivating. It's every glance, every movement, every subtle detail that you express without saying a single word. Carl Jung taught us that our unconscious mind reveals itself through our non-verbal behavior, through our gaze, our movements, the tone of our voice, and even the rhythm of our breath. All of these subtle expressions often communicate far more than any conversation ever could. That's why it's so crucial to become aware of your own body language and your presence to truly embody the silent attitude. Let's start with your gaze. It's not about staring intensely, but about looking at someone with authenticity, a soft curiosity, and a sense of acceptance. A woman who can hold a gaze without fear and without judgment radiates a deep confidence. A look that says, "I'm here, I'm real, and I have nothing to prove," is what sparks genuine interest in a man because it opens the door to a deeper connection. Then there's the smile. Not just any smile, but that light, natural smile that isn't born from a desire to please or to get something in return. An almost imperceptible, quiet smile has a hypnotic effect because it's genuine. It comes from a place of inner well-being and sends the message, "I feel good in my own skin." This kind of smile can touch someone deeply without a single word being spoken. Another key element is listening. True listening isn't just about waiting for your turn to speak. It's about being fully present. When you listen with your whole being without interrupting or judging, you're sending a powerful message. I value what you have to say. This kind of deep listening invites him to open up because he feels safe with you, like he doesn't need to wear any masks. A light, natural touch, a brief contact on his arm or hand, can also have a more profound effect than 1,000 words. But this touch shouldn't be forced or calculated. It should be spontaneous and relaxed, an invitation to closeness, not an attempt to demand it. The tone of your voice also plays a significant role. A calm, gentle voice that is clear and unhurried conveys a sense of security. Avoid high-pitched or nervous tones, as they often unconsciously carry a sense of restlessness and neediness. A balanced and measured way of speaking, on the other hand, builds trust and creates a feeling of closeness. And finally, your posture. A woman who stands tall, who claims her space without making herself small, radiates self-worth and inner strength. Relaxed shoulders, a lifted head, and slow, fluid movements all send the signal, "I am fully present in my own being." All of these elements come together to create a silent symphony that a man perceives on an unconscious level. This isn't about manipulation. It's about standing in your own truth with a genuine and powerful presence. When your body speaks from a place of inner strength, Attraction becomes a natural and effortless consequence. In practice, this means taking the time to observe yourself. What does your gaze say when he's talking to you? Is your smile genuine or forced? Are you truly listening, or are you just waiting for your turn to speak? Even small shifts in your nonverbal expression can profoundly change how he perceives you, because your nonverbal behavior is the gateway to his unconscious. It's in that space that the strongest and most authentic feelings are born. A silently embodied attitude creates a space where he wants to be, not because he has to, but because he feels invited to discover you, layer by fascinating layer. That's why mastering this silent language is so crucial, not to get him, but to create a deeper, more respectful, and more meaningful connection. Why this works? A glimpse into male psychology to truly understand why the silent attitude has such a powerful effect on men. We need to take a look at male psychology, an area that's often overlooked or misunderstood. The way men think, feel, and respond to a woman who radiates a quiet calm and a sense of mystery isn't random. It's deeply connected to their innate nature and their emotional wiring. First and foremost, it's important to understand that men tend to value what they can't easily control or predict. In a world where many women try to win a man over with words, explanations, or constant declarations of their feelings, a silent, confident presence is like an oasis of mystery. It's fascinating and incredibly attractive. This silence acts like an empty canvas, and the male mind instinctively wants to fill it with curiosity and desire. When you're not over-explaining yourself, a man feels challenged to discover more about you, to invest his own energy into truly getting to know you. From a Jungian perspective, the male unconscious is drawn to what can't be reduced to the obvious. A woman who doesn't reveal everything about herself, who carries an air of mystery, and who doesn't need to validate herself with words, speaks directly to the archetype of the feminine, a force that is deeply connected to his instinctive and emotional self. Moreover, men have a powerful response to authenticity. The silent attitude isn't about playing games, acting disinterested, or creating an artificial sense of scarcity. It's about a genuine connection to your own inner center, yourself, worth, and your security. When this energy radiates from you without a word, he feels it as something real and powerful. This creates respect, and respect is the foundation for depth and longevity in any relationship. Male psychology also reveals that men often fear losing a sense of control in the pursuit. When a woman isn't immediately available or isn't sending clear signals of neediness, a man feels encouraged to put in more effort to earn his place in her life. The silent attitude creates a beautifully balanced tension between closeness and distance, which keeps his interest alive without making him feel like the chase is already over. Another key point is that men don't always process their emotions verbally. They often respond more to impulses, images, and body language. This is why your non-verbal communication is so incredibly powerful. Your feminine calmness and mystery send signals directly to his subconscious, activating feelings of attraction and respect, often without him even being able to consciously explain why. At the same time, this attitude protects you from falling into toxic dynamics like codependency or emotional chasing. When a woman isn't clinging, begging, or constantly seeking validation, a healthy connection can form, one that's born not out of need but out of freedom. And it's precisely this freedom that is so magnetic. Neediness repels, while emotional independence attracts. Psychologically, this also taps into what's known as the effect of controlled uncertainty. When a man doesn't know exactly what to expect from you or how you'll respond, it puts him in a state of positive alertness. He starts paying more attention to the details, putting in more effort, looking for clues, and wanting to understand you on a deeper level. Your silence and inner calm create the perfect environment for this effect because you're not filling every space with words. You're leaving room for his imagination to flourish. Finally, the respect that this attitude evokes doesn't just change him, it changes you. When you operate from your center, from a place of inner peace and without the fear of rejection, you create a positive feedback loop. He respects you more, and in turn, you strengthen your own self-worth even further. In short, male psychology clearly shows us why the silent attitude is so incredibly powerful. It speaks to the deeper levels of desire, respect, and authenticity. It's not an external tactic. It's an expression of your inner value. A value that doesn't need to be shouted to be heard. How to practice this attitude? Practical tips now that you understand why the silent attitude is so incredibly effective. The real question is, how can you live it authentically without coming across as distant or artificial? Developing this attitude is about so much more than just being quiet. It's a deeper form of self-connection, an inner state of security and clarity. Speak less, listen more. In so many situations, we feel an overwhelming urge to fill the silence with words with explanations, justifications, or impulsive reactions. This often comes from a place of inner insecurity. But when you learn to hold back that impulse, you create an aura of calm and mystery that invites him to want to truly discover you. Listen actively and be fully present. True listening, without interrupting and without mentally preparing your response, creates a profound sense of closeness. You'll not only understand him better, but you'll also show him that he is truly being heard. This silent attentiveness has a deep and lasting effect because it's so rare. Breathe consciously before you respond. A deep breath before you answer can work wonders. It signals an inner calm, a sense of self-control, and emotional maturity. This small pause radiates a sense of sovereignty and protects you from reacting too quickly or feeling the need to justify yourself. Learn to enjoy the silence. Many people are afraid of silence because they associate it with emptiness or discomfort. But in truth, silence is an expression in itself, an expression of strength, depth, and respect. Practice not rushing to fill the silence, but allowing it to be. It's often in these very moments that a true connection is forged. Another important aspect is smiling with a natural ease, without feeling the need to explain every signal you send. A subtle smile, a gentle gaze, or a small gesture can express more than hours of conversation. These nonverbal cues convey a sense of security, openness, and genuine interest, all without a single word. A more advanced step is to cultivate your self-worth from within. The silent attitude only unfolds its full power when it's combined with genuine self-love. This means you don't need external validation to feel valuable. When you accept and love yourself, your energy becomes more stable and authentic, and this immediately shows in your presence. Work on recognizing your strengths, forgiving yourself for past mistakes, and valuing yourself unconditionally. Also, practice emotional and physical self-care. Take care of your health, your appearance, and make time for your hobbies, your friends, and your personal development. When you lead a fulfilled life, you radiate a sense of independence and wholeness, a combination that men find deeply attractive. Learn to set clear boundaries and to respect them. The silent attitude doesn't mean being passive or letting everything slide. On the contrary, it means recognizing when to withdraw and not wasting your energy on situations that don't serve you. These quiet, decisive boundaries show a deep self-respect and teach others how you wish to be treated. Setting boundaries without drama is a powerful way to strengthen your inner power. And lastly, remember that this attitude is not a mask, nor is it a game of manipulation. It's an expression of your authenticity and your honesty with yourself and with others. When you feel that you don't need to pretend to be liked, your energy begins to vibrate on a higher level. And it's precisely this energy that he won't be able to let go of. In summary, practicing the silent attitude means connecting deeply with yourself and learning to speak through your presence, your gaze, and your energy, rather than out of fear. What happens within him when you embody this attitude? When a woman adopts this silent, magnetic attitude, it's not just her own aura that changes. It's the entire way he perceives and responds to her. The male psyche reacts with a particular strength to subtle, profound signals far more than to direct words or lengthy explanations. First, he becomes incredibly curious. The calmness and silence that you radiate invite him to want to know more about you. He doesn't have all the answers about who you are, and that is precisely what awakens his true desire to get closer, to discover the depths of your inner world. This curiosity isn't superficial. It arises from a fascination with something real, mysterious, and unique. In a world full of relationships where everything is revealed far too quickly, the woman who remains a little elusive stands out. She creates a constant sense of longing in him. Second, he starts to invest more. When you speak less, don't appear desperate, and aren't immediately available, he feels that he has to earn your attention and your trust. This challenges him on an emotional level. And this feeling of having to make an effort not only increases his interest, but also his emotional attachment to you. Your silence becomes a space where he wants to be. He'll start seeking ways to connect with you on a deeper level because you convey that not everyone has access to your inner world, that you're not trying to fill an emotional void, and that you won't accept just any kind of behavior. This makes him feel your worth and often awakens a genuine admiration for you. Psychologically, your attitude activates a powerful projection mechanism. He begins to fill the empty spaces with his own desires, longings, and fantasies. Because you're not revealing everything, his mind creates an idealized version of you, one that is nourished by your silent and mysterious aura. This projection is a strong psychological force that binds him to you emotionally. And as you remain true to this attitude, his respect for you grows. You're no longer seen as someone who constantly needs validation, but as a complete woman who loves and takes care of herself. This often triggers in him the need to be on your level, to make an effort to become more mindful and present himself. This respect translates into behavior that is more attentive, gentle, and genuine, because you're not selling yourself short. In many cases, the silent attitude also leads him to reflect on his own feelings and behavior. Because he's not getting immediate answers or impulsive reactions from you, he's forced to really listen to himself. What does he truly feel? What does he want with you? This inner process often leads him to make more conscious and mature decisions because the mystery you radiate demands depth and authenticity. And something incredibly important happens. When you embody this attitude, you don't just change how he sees you. You change the entire dynamic of the relationship. You're no longer available for manipulation or emotional dependency. You become a woman who knows her worth and who acts from her center, from her soul. This inner transformation is what he won't be able to let go of because he feels that you're not just attractive. You have an aura that both challenges and deeply moves him at the same time. In short, the silent attitude is not a strategy to get him. It's an authentic way of life that evokes respect, a true desire, and a deep curiosity within him. When you learn to communicate more with your presence than with your words, your energy becomes simply irresistible. He begins to see you as something unique, as a woman he simply can't let go of because he feels that there is something real, valuable, and profound within you. Conclusion: sometimes, true seduction doesn't lie in speaking loudly or trying to put all of our feelings into words. It's found in the whisper of the energy you radiate, in the calmness you maintain, and in the undeniable power of your silence. When you adopt this silent, centered attitude, you don't just transform yourself. You change the entire way he perceives and feels you. He'll start to seek you out, to respect you, and to think of you even when no one is talking about you. You won't have to beg for love or explain your feelings, because your calm, mysterious and authentic aura will say more than 1,000 words ever could. This silent energy shows him that you are a woman who knows her worth, who doesn't sell herself short. And it is precisely this that will drive him crazy about you. Remember, you don't need to fill the space with words to be desirable or valuable. Your power lies in inhabiting your truth, in staying centered, and in radiating from that beautiful place without fear and without haste. When you have mastered this, he won't just want to be with you. He will learn to cherish and love you in a new, deeper way. Have you ever experienced the power of silence in your own relationships? What changes did you notice in him? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your story might just help other women discover this silent attitude that truly changes everything.